The Egyptian president firmly rejects any renewed military occupation of Gaza. Egypt and Turkey discuss the Gaza crisis and bilateral relations. And the Arab Islamic bloc condemns Israeli plan to fully occupy Gaza. You're watching Q News, and these are the Egyptian news with me, Hani Saif. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has rejected any renewed military occupation of Gaza during talks with Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, urging a ceasefire, aid access and the release of detainees. In Cairo, President al-Sisi told the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan that Egypt rejects any military re-entry into Gaza. He called for an immediate ceasefire, urgent humanitarian aid and the release of detainees, condemning the forced displacement of Palestinians. The two leaders also discussed Libya, Syria and Sudan, stressing sovereignty and territorial integrity. They highlighted the 2024 Strategic Cooperation Agreement and set a goal of $15 billion in trade, urging more Turkish investments in Egypt. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati has met his Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan in New Alamein to discuss bilateral ties and urgent developments in Gaza. In New Alamein city, Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati held talks with the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan on regional and international issues of mutual concern. Their discussions covered the Gaza crisis, bilateral relations and ways to address regional challenges. The meeting underscored both countries' commitment to dialogue and cooperation in strengthening diplomatic ties. Egypt's Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati says Cairo and Ankara share a strategic vision for addressing regional crises with a united stance on Gaza. At a joint press conference, Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati said talks with his Turkish counterpart focused on coordinated efforts to boost security and stability. Abdulati briefed Turkey on Egypt's push to halt hostilities in Gaza, condemning Israeli expansion and urging the lifting of all crossing restrictions to allow aid in. Both sides rejected forced Palestinian displacement and called for pressure to reverse Israeli occupation plans. They also reaffirmed support for Syria's territorial integrity, condemned Israeli aggression there and stressed political, not military solutions in Libya, Lebanon and Sudan. Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan has accused Israel of blocking Gaza's ceasefire efforts, praising Egypt's role in mediation. Speaking in the New Alamein city, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan thanked Egypt, Qatar and the United States for their efforts towards a Gaza ceasefire, while accusing Israel of obstructing these initiatives. At a joint press conference with Egypt's Foreign Minister, Fidan said that Palestinian cause is now a global priority, rejecting Israel's attempts to occupy Gaza and condemning massacres there. Both ministers pledged to oppose Palestinian displacement, vowed coordination on the Palestinian cause, and condemned Israeli expansionist policies. They also reaffirmed joint efforts to stabilize Libya and Sudan and praised Egypt's role in facilitating aid into Gaza. The Arab Islamic Ministerial Committee has condemned Israel's plan to impose full military control over Gaza, calling it a violation of international law. Representing over 20 nations and major organizations, the Arab Islamic Ministerial Committee denounced Israel's declared intent to take full military control of Gaza as a grave escalation aimed at cementing illegal occupation. The committee accused Israel of killings, starvation, forced displacement, land annexation and settler violence, acts it said may amount to crimes against humanity. It demanded an end to Israeli aggression, full humanitarian access and support for ceasefire and reconstruction. The statement reaffirmed commitment to the two-state solution, called for holding Israel accountable, and urged urgent international action to stop further atrocities and achieve a just peace. Egypt and Qatar are mediating a deal to free all Gaza captives in exchange for a full ceasefire. The Associated Press reports that Egyptian and Qatari mediators are working to finalize a framework under which all captives held in Gaza would be released in a single exchange for a full ceasefire. The efforts come as Israel's Security Cabinet approved Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's plan to seize Gaza City and impose security control over the entire enclave. The five-point plan calls for creating an alternative civil administration unaffiliated with Hamas or the Palestinian Authority, disarming Hamas, returning all captives, and demilitarizing Gaza. Egypt has welcomed the peace agreement between Armenia and Azerbaijan, voicing hope it will strengthen cooperation and stability in the Caucasus. In a foreign ministry statement, Cairo said the accord serves the interests of both nations and the wider region. Egypt praised U.S. mediation under President Donald Trump and called for similar diplomatic efforts in the Middle East to advance peace and stability. The statement reaffirmed Egypt's support for peaceful conflict resolution and dialogue to safeguard international security.
Incredible leaders, you're going to go down in history.
Egypt has extended condolences to Ghana over a helicopter crash in the Ashanti region that killed the country's defense and environment ministers along with other officials. In a statement, the foreign ministry expressed solidarity with Ghana and offered sympathy to the victims' families. Egypt and India have discussed boosting cooperation in universal health coverage, e-health and clinical research during talks between Egyptian Healthcare Authority Chief Ahmed Subki and Indian Ambassador Suresh K. Reddy in Cairo. Subki underscored Egypt's role as a gateway to African markets and voiced interest in localizing robotic surgery and smart primary care models with major Indian healthcare providers. Reddy invited Egyptian officials to visit India to review its healthcare system and called for long-term partnerships to exchange expertise and increase Indian investment in Egypt's medical technology sector. Egypt's Petroleum Minister Karim Badawi has reviewed expansion works at Al Hamra oil port in New Alamein, aiming to make it a key crude storage hub on the Mediterranean. During his visit, Minister Karim Badawi inspected development projects at Al Hamra oil port, operated by WEPCO, and met senior petroleum officials and Fujairah representatives. The northern expansion will boost crude storage capacity from 2.8 to 5.3 million barrels by early next year. Southern upgrades include integrated facilities for 130,000 tons of petroleum products with a long-term target of 20 million barrels and 400,000 tons capacity by 2030. Presidential Advisor for Health and Prevention Affairs, Muhammad Awad Tageddin, said that the 100 Days of Health initiative represents a qualitative leap in the development of Egypt's healthcare system. He added that the initiative aims to bridge the gap between medical services and people's needs, particularly amid the ongoing expansion of the universal health insurance system. Teguddin said that the initiative helps deliver medical services to remote and deprived areas, providing regular and comprehensive medical checkups that enable the early detection of chronic and hereditary diseases, including hypertension, diabetes, kidney disorders, anemia in children, stunting, and certain genetic conditions. The Health and Population Ministry has participated in the 11th edition of the International Dental Exhibition and Conference, taking place from August 7th to the 9th at Cairo. The ministry's participation is part of its efforts to promote continued medical education and enhance the skills of doctors and medical staff, which in turn will contribute to improved quality of health services. Approximately 2,000 dentists from the ministry's hospitals, medical centers, and health units are representing the ministry at the global event, aiming to hone their clinical and technical skills and learn about the latest protocols and advancements in dentistry. The Environment Ministry said that Egypt's nature protection sector carried out a cleanup and awareness campaign at the Nab protected area in South Sinai in coordination with local authorities to preserve the site's biodiversity and promote environmental sustainability. Acting Environment Minister Manal Awad said the initiative is part of ongoing conservation efforts in Egypt's nature reserves and reflects the government's commitment to protecting natural heritage in line with presidential directives. Awad urged citizens to visit and help preserve Egypt's unique environmental sites for future generations. Nab, located 40 kilometers from Sharm el-Sheikh, is known for its coral reefs, mangrove forests, diverse desert landscapes, and appeal to eco-tourists. Potatoes ranked second among Egyptian agricultural exports, with a quantity exceeding 1.3 million tons, confirming their position as one of the most important strategic crops for the national economy. These figures are the culmination of significant efforts to develop the Egyptian agricultural sector and improve production quality to meet global market demands. Potato exports have witnessed remarkable growth in recent times, supported by increased foreign demand for Egyptian products, which are characterized by their high quality and diverse varieties. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli affirmed the importance of giving due attention to seasonal complaints related to the effects of rising temperatures during certain periods, urging prompt action to resolve such issues and provide the best possible responses to people. The Premier instructed officials to intensify efforts to receive, monitor, and address people's complaints within the framework of the efforts to enhance community participation and continuously improve the quality of public services nationwide. Meteorological Authority announced the weather forecast for tomorrow, Sunday, noting a gradual rise in temperatures across northern Egypt, extending to Upper Egypt's northern areas and Greater Cairo. The weather will be very hot and humid during the day in northern regions up to Greater Cairo. Low and medium clouds are expected to appear over parts of northern Egypt, including Greater Cairo. The Meteorological Authority emphasized that the increase in humidity levels will make the heat feel 2 to 4 degrees Celsius hotter than the actual temperature in the shade. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin, but here's a reminder of today's main Egyptian stories. The Egyptian president firmly rejects any renewed military occupation of Gaza. Egypt and Turkey discuss Gaza crisis and bilateral relations. And the Arab Islamic bloc condemns the Israeli plan to fully occupy Gaza. These are all the Egyptian news we have for now, but please remember to stay updated by following Q News for the latest developments. Thank you for joining us.